I think we leaned into that in this film, for sure. You know, there's a lot of real life that's in this film, at least for me. I was like, just lean into what's already being said about me or has been said. And like this film, had this film been released, I think before the pandemic, there would have been a cynicism about it that I think has been eliminated. You know, there's no reason that we can't enjoy things like this when they're simply there to entertain you, make you laugh.
Yeah. And I also think like honestly there's huge value obviously in making incredibly worthy, hard films. There's also I think one of the noblest things that cinema can do is give escape and just make people laugh for a couple of hours, because that's really the point of life.
You know, this project came to us in such a crazy way. It was like it was October of 2020. We had been locked in our houses, for a long time, and we were all kind of feeling that isolation. And this script came to us about a woman who is basically cocooned in her life, that gets ripped out onto an adventure and sort of realizes like that there is more life and adventure and joy to be had. And so for us, it was something that we responded to so much as people who desperately wanted to go on adventures. We read it thinking like, the way to approach this movie would be to not approach it like a rom-com, but like, let's make it like we're making Indiana Jones or making Romancing the Stone. Like, take it, all the action stuff, take it all totally seriously, but just with these fish out of water instead of Indiana Jones in the role. And that's where the comedy comes from.
Yeah, I think that's what we connected with Sandy on, is that she had the same ambition. She didn't want to make just another rom-com, not to diminish the rom-coms that she made, but she's done it and she's excelled at it, and she wanted to explore a new way of approaching this stuff. And so our vision and hers was the same, of let's take the adventure side just as seriously and really take the audience on a ride.
It's interesting, the differences and the similarities. Like, I remember showing up to the original Alamo Drafthouse in 2006 for The Last Romantic, and there was a line around the block, and it was just like such an amazing welcome to not only South by, but the film community. And it was funny last night going to the premiere and seeing the line outside and feeling that nostalgia for that first moment and this moment on a bigger scale. It was just honestly a very special experience for us.
Yeah, I would say the thing that doesn't change too is that we make these movies just in the hopes that people will connect to it and respond to it. We're making it for the audience, and so getting to come and be with the audience is so meaningful. And the festival attracts such like an enthusiastic, excited audience that wants to go to the movies and wants to enjoy it.
I mean, you just shot me back to trying to find a vaccine. I mean, I was running around trying to find one. They were not available, like readily available. By the time we had gotten there for the Scout, they were more readily, but it was like I felt like I was on the black market trying to find, just like, just give me something. It was scary. Everyone, if we really stopped and admitted it, we were all petrified, so scared. And we never let our guard down, that's for sure. We were really strict.
Yeah, I guess I had been vaccinated. I did my first one, I guess, at that point. No, I must have had both, yeah. No, it was a very weird time in some ways to make a film, but also there was something about being where we were it did also feel like a kind of escape from it at times. And it's always nice to just, throw yourself into work and something like that rather than sitting at home stressing about whether you're going to get the virus. It's at least nice to be doing something.
And just to say something, I mean, I don't want to take away from your time, but our industry got people back to work. They figured out how to do it, how to responsibly do it, and keep people safe and get people back into their work, paying their bills, keeping their families afloat, and as much as we like to make fun of Hollywood, I was really proud to be in the business when we could see that we could keep people safe but yet still create.
In some ways, being in the pandemic lockdown made everybody so much more enthusiastic about going on this adventure that it helped us overcome like just the natural challenges of being in a jungle, of being out on the ocean, of being in the water.
Yeah, there was so much goodwill and gratitude that we were making a movie during COVID that I think the the sweltering heat and difficult conditions were, people were able to get through it because of we were so grateful to be doing it.
The COVID of it all definitely complicated as well, like what was already difficult, because we knew right away that we didn't want this to be a stage show. We wanted to bring our cast on the same adventure that we were trying to bring the audience on. So we wanted to really get out there in the elements and experience that. But adding to the mix that you've got KN95s and all the complications of trying to keep things safe COVID-wise, it just made it all the more an adventure. We were even doing subtle things that maybe viewers on a second viewing will notice that we withhold saturated blues and greens for the beginning of the movie to give sort of this Wizard of Oz kind of experience, that you're in one kind of world, and then as the movie moves forward, we pull you into the Technicolor world, where now these new colors come in and you're immersed in the jungle, in that adventure experience.
And we wanted it on a character basis too, where you have these characters that are truly the last person that you would expect to be on this kind of an adventure, that by the time you get to the end of the movie, they start to kind of resemble those adventure stars. You kind of strip them down to the point that they start looking like the action heroes from a romance novel or one of these films from the 80s. Yeah,
without ever losing the charm of being the person who doesn't belong on that adventure. And that was the exciting layer that really attracted us to this, because we love those films from the 80s and 90s, the late 70s. The Raiders of the Lost Ark, Zemeckis, Spielberg, what the films that they were bringing us. We didn't want to just completely recreate that. We wanted to take those moments that we loved and then throw, instead of Indiana Jones in it, Channing Tatum as a cover model, Sandra Bullock as a novelist, and see what happens when that person now is in this adventure situation and has to fumble their way through it.
I don't know which one of us said it first, but it's funny because the Daniels are obviously here at this film festival. But when we saw Swiss Army Man, we were just like, if Daniel Radcliffe can be that captivating playing a dead guy, this guy can do anything. Always been a big fan, but then when I saw that movie, we were just like, oh my God, he's incredible. And just felt like a fun thing to do, to make him James Bond villain, handsome, dashing, daddy issues, and just show Daniel in a new light.
Like Adam said, from seeing the things that Daniel was doing, that he's interested in doing interesting things, and he's interested in exploring his range and what he could do. And so it was very exciting to bring him in and get to showcase him in a different way, but a way that we knew he was going to shine. He was good in the audition.
We called him back several times. He wanted it. Brad, it still feels I still feel like I'm lying when we're talking about Brad Pitt being in our movie. It just feels very surreal. We talked about him early on, and all decided that was a pipe dream.
It's never going to happen. Yeah.
And so we started talking about other people, and then when Sandy did Bullet Train, and they share a hairdresser, and Janine Thompson, and I think she started to just kind of merge and make this deal happen.
I think Janine deserves a lot of credit. She was going back and forth between the two of them. Janine gets the credit for Sandy being on Bullet Train and for Brad being in Lost City.
She should be making that agent fee. Just putting that out there. Janine, it was so fun having Brad on set with her and with Channing. They just Sandy and Brad, obviously they've known each other for a very long time and are brother and sister and just giggling and having a fun time. And then you add Channing to that mix. It was really, that week was kind of the most pinch me moment of the movie, where we had these three incredible stars, incredible actors, just kind of hanging out and laughing and having an amazing time and shooting between raindrops.
See, that's going to cause
in real
discord.
life.
That's going to cause some discord.
I've never met Brad. I
See,
didn't
that
get
gets
to
you
work
out
with
of
it.
it.
That gets me out of it. I'm going to say Channing. I also think Channing could genuinely do a pretty good job of
He's a
rescuing
survivalist.
someone.
He's a real survivalist. And I'm not going to say which he I'm talking about. The he that I would have come rescue me is very capable, is a survivalist, very compassionate, lots of experience, and has a tremendous amount of empathy for the victims.
And it's up to the audience to figure out
which one that is.
Look, you're putting us in a tough position here. Because the only person who would ever watch us do an interview would be Channing. So Channing is actually a friend because of this experience, and I love him dearly. But Brad's just so cool and makes you feel so safe, and you can just kind of like, I just trust him to get me through that jungle adventure. You know, he's gonna flip his hair, he's gonna push me in a wheelbarrow. I don't know. I gotta go with Brad.
All right, well, Channing and I will have fun on our island together.
Oh,
It's gonna be Adam.
Channing. I'm on your romance novel cover. Yeah, because as a brother, it makes sense that you would want your brother to be on the sex symbol in your fantasy.
It's it's cop number 2 all the way.
Number 2. Yeah, it could be a cop number 2 and Channing, because it's good to have 2 people, and I think that's a story that we'd all like to see. There are a lot of people clamoring for more cop number 2 scenes in the movie. To me, what I would hope is that this is one of those movies where people just are remembering those crazy moments in the movie and reciting the lines, and that it provided this really fun, joyful escape from life for a moment, because obviously, we've been talking about the pandemic. There are many difficult things happening throughout the world that I think are very challenging for all of us to know how to deal with, and it's so nice to be able to escape into a fun movie, and I hope that this movie can provide that escape for some people.
It's such a good feeling to be in a theater around other people laughing and enjoying themselves, and I think we need that, and we wanted to experience that, and we wanted to create something that can allow other people to have that experience too.
I hope so. I mean, it feels like they have a lot more adventures to go. I'm excited to fantasize about what their next adventure is.
Yeah, it's so much fun being with them and watching them. I think we need to see them together again.
Yeah.